my screen okay? All right, people are joining, flooding in. Hello. Nice to see some familiar names. Awesome. Since we are right at time, I'm just gonna get through the beginning stuff so we can get to the fun features for today. So, hey everyone, and welcome to the Apsona for Salesforce feature highlights and demo webinar. If you're new here, we started a monthly series to bring new and existing Apsona features out into the ecosystem. And if you have joined before, welcome back. I've started to really look forward to having these on a monthly basis. And I will just kick things off before handing it over for the walkthrough of our features for today. For those of you who may be new to Apsona, we help Salesforce admins and teams save time each week by simplifying reporting, document management, and data quality and management. Teams choose Apsona because it is an all-in-one solution that works directly inside of Salesforce, and we are proud to have over 250 AppExchange reviews. And I think we have 5 stars right now. So thank you to everyone who submitted a review. Next, I'll introduce the incredible team joining me today. First, we have Shweta, our product support engineer, and we have Abhishek, our support lead. And with that, I will hand it over to you, Shweta, and stop sharing my screen.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Alia. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Apsona feature demo. And before starting, let me share my screen and just give me a thumbs up once it's visible.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Alia. Hey, hi, everyone. Hope everyone is doing good. So, as Alia mentioned, this is the Apsona webinar series we do conduct every month, right? So, before starting the agenda, I would like to mention that for next 20 minutes, we are going to walk you through with the 4 interesting features about Apsona based on the last call we had, based on the Apsona ask, based on the support ticket we get continuously from you guys. So we decided to go for with the 4 features, which is predominantly asked many of you. So in today's session, the first 2 features will be explained by Abhishek with a live demo. So the first one will be advanced one-to-many comparison across object using a MSR, and the second one is how to build a custom clickable hyperlink in scheduled report. And the third and fourth will be explained by me. And the third one is seamless linking between accounts and contact using import and export option in Apsona. And the last one, fourth feature, which is a very new feature we recently launched. So, which is limit the record count in sublist when you are generating the any kind of document or Excel in Apsona DMA. And we'll wrap this entire session by Q&A. So, if you guys have any doubts, any questions, feel free to put it in a chat or a Q&A session. So, at the end, we'll definitely answer them. So without delay, let's move over to you, Abhishek, for the first 2 features.
Thank you, Shweta. Let me share my screen. And hello once again, everyone. And do let me know once my screen is visible, please.
Yep.
Great, thank you. So yes, as Shweta mentioned, the first feature that we'll be discussing today is one-to-many comparisons across objects using multi-step report. So this would help us comparing data from one object to other object, not by rows, but using column methods. So we'll be showcasing how we can display data using column blocks in multi-step report and how we can use calculated field to compare this data using these column blocks. So for this, I'll quickly jump onto my DevOps where I have already created a simple multi-step report so that we don't have to go through the reporting part, which we have discussed in our previous feature demos. So I'll simply first explain the data that we have, and then I'll explain how we'll be achieving this comparison that we are talking about today. So in this data, we have an attendee object where I have pulled the attendee object will have the attendee details like contact name, email address from different channels like webinars, some office or offline classes. And then we have an alternate channel. So in this alternate channel, we store email address for each, which is related to each contact, and the channel name from which we got the email address. So in this data setup, we have three different channels, which I have defined for today's use case. And let me show how the data looks like now. So as you can see, for we have attendee details, which is from different attendee channels. And for each of those contact, I have three different alternate channel: offline class, a test alternate channel, and a webinar. And there are different email address. So the use case here is we want to compare this attendee email across these three different email address and find out if there is a match. If yes, we'll not update. If there is no match, the use case is that we have to update this email address to the correct channel and the email address. So that's our use case. And let's see how we can compare. With the current data, as we can see, we'll not be able to compare it at a time. We have to run comparison each for each row and then figure out which is if it matches or not. But let's see how the column block helps us in this use case. So I'll start making few changes to the report. So now in the second object, which is the alternate channel, where we saw three different email address in three different rows. So we have an option called show this steps record in column blocks. What this does is instead of showing the record of this step in each row, this will show the record in column blocks. So now that I know we have three columns for alternate channel, three different channels. So I'll be using three as the number of columns that I need. Let me save and run and show how this data looks like now. Now, as you can see, the data is reduced to three rows and the second steps data is divided into each column. So alternate channel one column, which has offline class, alternate channel two, which has the test channel, and alternate channel three, which has a webinar, and the email address is divided into column for each contact associated with it. So now we have the data in single row. Let's see how we can use calculated fields to add formulas for this column blocks. So in order to do that, I will add an calculated step. So let me call it limit a simple calculated step, and we'll select calculation with formulas. And let me start adding a field. So now comparing, now what I have to do is from the first step, the email address should be compared to three different email address in the second step. So let's see how this works. So I will name it as email match. And we have this useful feature insert reference to field, which simply adds the field. So I'll add it over here. So my comparison will be, first let me start with the first column. So here for alternate channel, we have the email address. So one difference over here is we have alternate channel, which is the step name. All I have to add is one over here, which makes it first column. Then I'll use an OR symbol. Let me copy this again. Since we need to do three different comparison, all I'm doing is I'm using the same data. I'll be changing this number to the column number that I want to compare. And I'll paste it again. And I'll change this to column number 3. So now I have defined my formula in such a way that alternate channel 1, which is the first column, channel 2, which is the second column, channel 3, which is the third column. So, and I'll use a ternary operator. If it matches, I'll call it match. If not, I'll call it mismatch. So now I have built my formula and it's accepted. That means save and run this. Okay, now I have the last column over here. As you can see, wherever the email matches to any one of the email field over here. So this is my email that I'm comparing, and we have this over here in the webinar channel. So it says match, and in the second one also it says match, and the third one it says mismatch because the email address that I got from attendee email does not compare with any of this. So with the use of this show data in column block and using calculated fields for the column block, we can simply compare across different rows or different records of different objects with a simple formula. We don't have to run through each record and create a formula, complicated formula to go through each record. We can just display the data in column blocks and compare it using simple calculated fields or JavaScript expressions. So that's our first use case on how to use compare data through column blocks. So moving on to the next feature that we'll be discussing. The next feature that I want to talk about today is custom clickable hyperlinks in scheduled reports. So we might, some of the users might have already used scheduled reports and tried to create hyperlinks. So I'll be today discussing how to build a hyperlink using calculated field, which is a very simple step, which I'll be explaining. After that, how we can use scheduled reports to get this custom clickable hyperlinks. So basically, if we export the reports using scheduler as a CSV, it usually generates a text value over there instead of hyperlinks. Let's see how we can get dynamic URLs in scheduled emails. For this, once again, let me switch to my dev org. And again, with the interest of time, I have created a simple report with the sample data. So I have data over here. Let me quickly make some changes so that I can begin start from the beginning and explain how it runs. So let's say in my data over here, I have account details and their opportunity amount and the payment amount received and the pending payment. So I need an email with a list of accounts where where there is pending payment, and I can simply, as a sales team person, I can simply click on the link and see which account has pending payment and reach out to those customers. This will be my use case. Let's consider that as an example. Let's see how we can achieve this use case using Apsona's multi-step report and scheduler. So now I have the account details, which has the account ID, account name, and I have the opportunity details related to the account. I have the opportunity account, which is a linkage, and I have the opportunity amount, the overall sum, and the payment that we have received already. So as you can see, I have added a linkage to make sure we are fetching opportunity related to the account from the first step. We have discussed about linkages in our previous feature demos. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us. We're happy to explain. And I have a calculator field which already has one step where it defines the pending payment. So since in our use case, we are trying to identify what is the pending amount and the account link. So I have already built a calculated field which has the pending payment, which is just difference between the opportunity amount and the payment received. Now is the feature that we are discussing about. So let me add a new field. I'll be building an account link. So this is a simple text over here. I'll be using the concatenation method with very simple basic formula. So what I'll be doing is to build an dynamic hyperlink, I'll be using the account URL that we usually have. So I'm adding the first step and we are using the concatenation method, and I'll be adding the account ID field. So that is our ID. Once again, I'll concatenate and I'll add view. So this simply converts this to an URL exactly how it looks in our URL bar. So let's see, I'll save and run this and let's see what the output will be. So now I have the account details, opportunity details, and the account link has the URL part. So this is the URL, which is exactly the URL for each and every account. So now that I have built this report, let's see how we can schedule and get the hyperlinks in our email. So for this, let me go back to list, excuse me, and I'll create a new schedule job. So let me call it as pending payment accounts. And that's my ID. Let me add an end date of June 30. And let's say I want a CSV. Let's see how it works with CSV. And then I'll explain the dynamic feature as well. So I want to deliver to my email address. I'll save this. So now I have created a scheduled job. Let me go to my scheduled jobs and I'll click refresh. So I have the latest job that I've created. So I'll do a test run and we'll see how the data will be. I've set it to CSV to explain how it works with CSV. So that's completed now. Let me wait for the email. Okay, over here I have my data. So here, when we receive it in CSV, we can see the data here is not an hyperlink. So it is just an text link over here. So let's say I want it as an hyperlink and should be easily clickable from my email. So the simple method to achieve this will be, we'll go back to our dev. And for this scheduled job, all we have to do is we need to update this delivery format to HTML inline. So what this does is, instead of creating a CSV file, it will create an CSV HTML file within the email, and it will give us the hyperlink to the account. So we don't have to download the CSV file, copy the URL and put it in the browser. We just have to, once this scheduled job is run, anyone from the sales team who needs this data, let's see how this comes up now. I'll run this scheduled job once again, and we'll give it a moment to run. Okay, that says completed. Let me go back to my email list and wait for the email to come up. So now, as you can see here, I've got the account list for my filter and the report over here, and we have the hyperlink as well. We just have to simply click on this hyperlink and the account details will open. This will help the sales and the marketing team to go through the account which have pending, sales and licensing team to go through the accounts and reach out to them easily. So this simple feature will allow us to get the links directly in email, and we can use it as per our use cases. So that brings us to the end of the second use case that I wanted to discuss. So we discussed about the comparing multiple objects using multi-step reports, as well as how to get the hyperlink using scheduled reports. So with that, I'll pass it on to Shweta, who will be explaining us the next two features for today. Over to you, Shweta.
Thanks, Abhishek. Let me share my screen first. Hope it's visible now. Great. Hi again. So the third feature is linking between accounts and contacts. So I will help you to understand based on the use cases. So recently, one of our customers during Apsonas came to us, said that, like, see, I have a list of customers which are a contact with first name, last name, and email. I want to import them into a Salesforce using Apsona import and export. But whenever I'm importing these contacts, it is having a anonymous accounts to it. So none of the contacts are not getting linked to account, because account is a parent here and contact is a child. So how to solve this use case specifically when you have a linkage between the two different, be it account or a contact or an opportunity? So let me move to my Apsona ecosystem. So for that, I have already have a pre-built template. You can see that I have account name and I have first name, last name, and email ID of the specific contact details with billing city, billing street. So how to use that Apsona is, so you can't do this entire contact import like usual one. Like, you can't just go to a contact object and use the tool import and export this, because you want to link the another object which is the account here. For that, you have to break down this entire process into two steps. The first one, you have to create the specific accounts IDs, or you have to import the account first in account object. That's the first one. Once you create that, download that respective account IDs and use them in your report, and again import that in your contact object. If you do follow these two steps, the each of the contact will directly associated with respective account. Let's see how we can do that, and I will start with my account object first, and I'm going to the tools using import and update. Right, so I'm using import new records as an action, and I want to reject if there is any duplicate data which I am pulling, and I'm keeping account name as a match field. Now I have two options. One, I can directly copy paste the source, or I can also use the file. In my case, I will directly use the copy paste because I have very less data. So I'm taking this entire from account name to a till billing or a postal code column. Once it's done, and use the field separator tab and click next. Now you can see automatically few of the fields got mapped. This is how Apsona brings the automation or efficiency. But as I mentioned, I just want to map account name. I don't want to map any of this contact related fields into my account object. So what I will do, I will keep this as do not import. Let me keep them. And I will also use omit errors option. And I just kept account name and mapped with the existing column. Clicking next, you can see that 5 new records and 2 rejection because those two account name already exist in my database. So this is how it happened, and I will just save this action so that every time I don't need to do the same thing again and again. So now I will click on import. Once I do the import, now download this successful data import uh, file into your system. So I am downloading directly into my system. You can see that why the first two rows are rejected because of the duplicate. And now you got created the new account ID for each of the datas with account name, with first name and last name that we defined. Now, the second step, once you imported into an account, now again you have to take this specific data from account ID to the billing safe, right? And you have to import that into our contact object. So this is my contact object. This is my second step or a method. I'm clicking on import and import. And again, I will use import new records and I will use the copy and paste data. And I'm directly copying the exact output I received from my first import from account object. So I'm taking account ID till billing or a postal code. Now, here, what I will do, I will match based on the uh, account details like email, and I will take a first name and I will take a last name. These are the match fields I wanted to consider before identifying the duplicates. Then I will use the tab to separate those. Click next. And this is the very important step. Now I have to map all the contact related information, including first name, last name, email, billing city, and street, and postal code. Okay. Now, so this is the very important. This is where we wanted to create the account IDs, specifically importing account. So now I will directly map this with account ID. So this will help us to map each of the contact with respect to the account IDs. So I will not import account name into my contact object. I will keep it as do not import, but rest of the contact related fields like first name, last name, email, I'm going to map them. And I will use the option omit errors and clicking next. Again, you can see that 7 new records will be getting imported to my contact object, and I will name it, right, so that I can use it later, and I will click on import. You can see all the 7 contact information successfully imported to contact. Let's see the each of them are associating with the respective account or not. So I will use my first contact and I will go to my account details. You can see the account has been already successfully mapped. Let me open account ID from here. So this is next gen system was one of my account and I wanted to import the Daniel contact here. So it successfully got linked between two objects using 2 steps of import and export. This is how you can use to solve your specific use case, right? So doing this, it will be successfully mapped with each other when you are running any report. So you will not miss or you will not misrepresent, or the reporting will be accurate when you map each of the uh, records with your parent. So the next feature is, which is a new feature we recently last month we released this in Apsona. Basically, you can now limit the number of sub records you can see in your sublist. So I will directly show you the demo without delay. So this is one of my opportunity. Sorry, this is one of my multi-step report. I already created pre-built the report. So this is my main report, and I will just use the merge mail. I can also create the new, or I can also use the existing run. So in this case, I will just use the existing one, right? Clicking on edit. And so the first step, as usual, you have to define your template. And this is the one sample template I have used, which has one sublist of opportunity. So I will use output document and I'll name the file with account name. Now, this is the main step. We all know that we have to map each of the fields with our data source. So the main report has been already mapped, and the sub report, which is opportunity, I have taken the direct opportunity object as a data source. You can also consider the reports you created as a data source, but here I created directly use the opportunity. Now, usually you have a field, and the next one is a sort and grouping. If you guys remember, uh, till last month, we just had a two option under sort and group. One is sort by the opportunity or any field, or group by the first few columns. Now we have this new feature. The first n records, when ranked by any of the field you selected, you can do the ascending and descending order. What does that mean is, let's say you have a opportunity you have a account ABC, and that has more than 100 of opportunity. But when you're generating the document or a excel or a output, you don't want all the 100 opportunities to be there in your record. You just wanted the first 5 or a 10 records in that. So now you can limit by doing that. Let's say if you are using the report also, sub report also, you will not able to limit this with the existing features. So this will help you to limit, so that you can modify the data, or you can only send the relevant data to your, let's say you want to send it to a donor, or you want to send the thank you letter. So this is how you can use and optimize the documentation. So in my case, what I will do, I will just keep first three based on the opportunity amount, and I will keep descending as my order. Clicking next and save and run. Let's see how the output comes. I will also show how many opportunities which it had earlier. So yeah, you can see I can only see three opportunities, right? Based on the amount which I have selected. And let's see how many actual opportunities the specific account has. This is the one I wanted. Okay, I had total 4 opportunities, where I just wanted to pull only 3 opportunity based on the ascending and descending order, which I have set. So yeah, this is our latest feature and new feature. Please do use it and let us know your feedbacks or anything you feel issue with using this. And please remember, as it's included in our newest release, so make sure that Apsona is your Apsona version is at least 2.410 or more than 2.410 version. So if you want to check the version which you have, you can go to installed packages. Under that, under Apsona for Salesforce, you will get the version number. Make sure that that is 2.410 version, so that you can use this new feature. Otherwise, you might not able to see the versioning. If you want any help with upgrading the versions, or if you have facing any issues using this feature, please do let us know, or you can email to us support at Apsona. So we are always here to help. Yeah. Over to you, Alia.
Awesome. Great job, guys. We are just about right at time, but let's try to squeeze in at least 2 questions. Okay. It says, do we need to make sure we have all required files with the 2 uploads? Um, can you all also see the questions in the Q&A chat? And feel free to provide additional context if needed. Oh, required fields, not files with the 2 uploads. Thank you.
So do we need to make sure we have all required files with the two uploads? Yes. Yes, correct. You should be having required fields. And let's say you should be having at least one common field from your parent object. Let's say it can be account ID or it can be account name to link it or match. Correct.
Awesome. Thank you. The questions we didn't get a chance to answer, we will answer those in the follow-up email, and you all will be receiving a recording. It'll be up on our YouTube channel, and I'll include the link in the follow-up email. But thank you guys so much for joining the April edition of the Feature Highlights demo, and have a great Thursday. Bye, everyone.